The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Thursday, the 10th day of July, 2025. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindo's, People's Pharmacy, and HSBC Bermuda. Thank you to them for ensuring that we're able to pump through the radio airwaves on Hot 107.5 with these most important community conversations. I'm Jamillah Hartman, and Maya Palacio will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in the news break brought to you by People's. How's everyone feeling? It's Thursday, or hold on, I forgot. It's Friday, Junior. It's Friday, Junior. Happy Friday, Junior, to everybody. How's everyone feeling today? Are you excited? You're one day closer to St. George's taking the cup back. One day closer to St. George's keeping the cup down east for the first time since 2011. Yeah. I feel good about it. I do. I feel good about our chances. Y'all didn't see they got this new player for St. George that played last weekend. He scored 100 runs against somebody. But anyway, he scored 100 runs. He got a century, about $120, I think. One of our secret weapons that we're working on. Now, I don't know what's going on up in Somerset, but you know, when you're doing great things, you try not to focus on your opponent. You focus on what you can do better. So I'm excited. Hopefully, all you St. George's fans in the audience are excited, and hopefully the Somerset fans are concerned about their chances this year. It's about time. It's about time. So I'm excited. One day closer to the Summer Classic, which means one day closer. We have a birthday in the audience too, right? So audience, let's give a warm birthday greeting to Charles H. Jefferson II. Happy birthday to Charles. Wish him many, many more. Wishing you a great day and a healthy and happy year ahead to you, Charles H. Jefferson II. Yes, happy birthday to Charles. Any other birthdays in the audience? Kathy Rogers got her St. George's colors on. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, folks. You know, got them when they're young. Suzanne Ingham says, super awesome Thursday, Jamal and Maya. The week has gone by so quickly. Yes. And she's got her St. George's colors, and Kathy Rogers is giving a birthday shout out to Charles. So yeah, big up to Charles on his birthday today. But folks, greetings to everyone. Greetings to you all, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we welcome Jamillah Lodge on from the BDC. We're discussing the things you need to know about starting a business in Bermuda. These are some important things that all of us should know. The Daily Play is a Name That Place today. Yeah, we've got a little geography, Name That Place today. Don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. All right, so where do we begin today, folks? Where do we begin today? All right, so there's a lot going on in Bermuda. There's a lot going on in Bermuda right now. Couple of shout outs. Suzanne Ingham says, happy birthday, Charles. I'm next week, Charles. Look, all these July birthdays. Beautiful, beautiful. Kenton Trott says, happy birthday, Sir Charles. Charles, you got a fan club, brother. You got a fan club. But let's jump into the conversation. We've got Jamillah Lodge from the BDC on, so I just think this fits. Look, we speak about AI on this show. We speak about jobs disappearing on this show. There are so many things happening. But I think one of the questions that we need to answer is something that Craig Simmons, educator, professor, economist, often says, that entrepreneurship is going to be our way out of these tough economic times. So the question of the morning is, what kind of business do you believe would make sense to start in Bermuda today? What kind of business do you believe would make sense to start in Bermuda today? What kind of business do you believe would make sense? But also, yes or no, audience, and there's no shame in this. Have you ever owned a business? Yes or no? Have you ever owned a business? Just a yes or no. And it doesn't have to be a big business with multiple employees. Have you ever owned a business, meaning had a registered business or paid tax on something and been responsible for generating revenue and developing a business? Like, have you ever owned a business? Just a yes or no. Have you ever owned a business? But also, what kind of business do you believe would make sense to start in Bermuda today? What kind of business do you believe would make sense to start in Bermuda today? We've got Dr. Anthony Richardson says, yes, owned a business. Okay, we've got one. We've got Kenton Trott says, yes, and still do. Okay, who else? Are there any no's? Anyone who hasn't owned a business? Yes or no? Like everyone who's tuned in right now, everyone who's tuned in, whatever platform you're on, have you ever owned a business? Just a yes or no. Have you ever owned a business? Yes or no. Hadaline Swan says, unfortunately, no. Okay, nothing wrong with that. And the open question is, what kind of business do you believe would make sense to start in Bermuda today? Like, what kind of business do you think, you know what, that is what we need in Bermuda? And this is no shame to businesses that exist, but do we really need more clothing brands? Do we really need more bars? What do we need? What would make sense? But have you ever owned a business? Jody Zool said no. Manuela John says no. Kathy Rogers says yes. Nana Pamela Wade says no. Charles H. Jefferson II says yes. Suzanne Ingham says no, but I did sewing crafts for about 2 years and got paid for doing it. Okay. Pamela Butterfield says yes. All right. So now let's answer this. What kind of business do you believe would make sense to start in Bermuda today? What kind of business do you believe would make sense to start in Bermuda today? Like, and when we think about this, folks, if you're going into entrepreneurship, I was speaking to someone recently. I was like, wow, you get it. If you want to start a successful business, I'll give you this piece of advice. And I don't like to give advice because I don't see myself as an expert, but I'm giving you this because it was given to me. The first thing you need to understand, it has to solve a problem, fill a need. You cannot just be passionate about journalism and say, I'm going to start a newspaper, right? Or a radio show. You have to say, you know what? There's nobody touching on these topics. Let me create a medium that's going to fill this gap. That makes sense? Let's use a bar, right? Or a barbershop. There may be a lot of barbershops. Say, well, I'm passionate about cutting hair, but am I really solving a problem? Or am I just jumping into a saturated market? What problem are you solving by opening your barbershop? It could be location. It could be offering more services that are not offered in other places. Let's go back to the audience. What kind of businesses do you believe would make sense to start in Bermuda today? Dr. Anthony Richardson says, best to set up online business to allow flexibility. Yeah. Online is definitely a good way to get into business. Yeah. Keep costs low. Kempton Trott says, entrepreneurship is perhaps the most stressful but most liberating career choice I have made. Kenton, man, I put up on my WhatsApp status yesterday, man. Let me just find it so I tell you exactly what I put, man, because yesterday was one of those days. It was a quote I saw. It says, "What a privilege it is to be exhausted by a challenge you chose for yourself." And I said, "Who knew stressful days like today were a privilege?" I was stressed, man. One of our websites went down because I forgot to pay it, right? Didn't have it on renewal, had to do that. I was on the phone with the company for hours so that they can recover the website so we didn't have to rebuild it. Like, that's on top of the other things I had to do as far as the meetings and making sure that I was prepped and doing stuff for next day. And then like it's so much more. Again, most people, you just see my face here and think daily hour, but we have so many things going on. So yesterday was one of those days where I was just like, I don't know, man. Working for someone else in a space where I'm not responsible for what I am was so much easier sometimes. It really was. So, yes, entrepreneurship, as liberating as it can be, I agree with Kenton, it can be very stressful. What else, audience? What kind of business do you believe would make sense to start in Bermuda today? Kenton Trot says a good business would be a restaurant on the water, not by the water, on the water. That sounds expensive. I don't know, restaurant. When I was in business school, they always said restaurants were one of the biggest risk in the United States, at least. One of the biggest risk. I don't know. I don't understand the restaurant industry, but that would be unique. It would be unique. I'll say that much. Dr. Anthony Richardson says online business offering products with low footprint at first. Okay. Polly Rich says in today's weather, an ice cream shop. Where's the snowballs? Is Snowy still around? Do they still have those things? That would make sense. What else, audience? Pamela Butterfield says barbershop, hair salon, liquor, food. Why? Those businesses already exist. Why? I mean, unfortunately, a liquor store will always make a lot of money in Bermuda. And I am very clear in saying unfortunately. But the others, I just don't understand. I mean, barbershops and hair salons, you have to pay so much in rent, right? Do they really make sense? Are you really going to be able to make a living opening those kind of businesses right now? Again, what kind of business would make sense to start in Bermuda today? Charles H. Jeffs II, he says, a money transfer service that doesn't require one to know someone's bank and or a bank account number, something similar to Zelle or Cash App. I like that. Yeah, Zelle is, man, I love using Zelle. Like, just have someone's phone number and zip, right to them. Yeah, I agree, Charles. Suzanne Ingham says, Jamal, you did not appear stressed yesterday. Not at all. You looked just relaxed. Well, this was after the show. During the day when my work day, my work day starts with the show, but you get my point after the show. But thank you, Suzanne. I appreciate your kind words. What else, audience? What kind of business do you believe would make sense to start in Bermuda today? Put your thinking cap on. What is a need? Is it a nursing home? You know, we have an aging population. Is it a nursing company? A care company? Like, what kind of businesses? Is it an online business where you're filling a person's need? Is it a small insurance company? You know, we have all this stuff about insurance going on. Do Bermudians need to open a different insurance company so that people can have better coverages? One that focuses just on medical insurance. One that maybe focuses just on automobile insurance. What kind of businesses do you think would make sense? Think big. Think big. Think like business people think in this. Think like bigger than our environment. Think about businesses that fill a need. What is a need for Bermuda? Where's that gap to? What do you think can be filled that you won't even have to market or sell, but people will gravitate towards it? Sheikha Reyna says content creators for hire to take content of visitors during their stay, following them around so they can post the best free ad on their socials. Yeah, that sounds easy. It's a lot of work following people around. Pamela Butterfield says they're all guaranteed. They're not, though. A restaurant's not a guaranteed moneymaker. A hair salon and barbershop's not a guaranteed moneymaker. Again, when we say makes sense, I want people to understand business, and Jamilah's probably going to talk about this when she comes on. Understanding the difference between revenue and profit is so important. You can make 100,000 in revenue and make minus 110,000 as far as income. I don't think we understand what a moneymaker is. A moneymaker is an insurance company. A moneymaker is a bank. A moneymaker is a gas station. Unfortunately, a barbershop, a hair salon, a restaurant, those are not moneymakers unless you own the buildings. We've got to change our mindset. Rosalind Famous says, Charles, yup, a peer-to-peer transfer app. That's a moneymaker. The easiest way for businesses to generate revenue is to have a very low overhead. Kenton Trott, he owns Secure Trucking. That's a moneymaker. That's filling a gap. Rashida Godwin, they're filling a gap. Mickey Robinson with Medical House, medical supplies, that's filling a gap. I can go on, but businesses that make sense fill a gap. What's a business that doesn't? Just think about something you experience outside of Bermuda that you're like, this would make sense in Bermuda. It would make sense. This actually, Bermudians would gravitate toward this. And guess what? It doesn't have a lot of overhead. Dr. Anthony Richardson says Turkish barbers with full service, beard, haircut, facial, massage, using wax to remove ear and nose hairs. Does the Turkish barber, are they the ones that do the transplants as well? Like they give you hair? Or that's different? Because I'm not saying I would go to one. I'm pretty happy with what's happening up top there, folks. But I was just unfamiliar. But that seems cool. Like I said earlier, if it's a barbershop, it's got to be unique. I went to a barber in Florida one time, and he did so many different things. Like they gave me they offered this massage thing. It was pricey. I never went back. I never went back. But they did a lot. It was not just a haircut. They had a hot towel, right? They had massage. It was an experience. It wasn't a haircut. It was an experience. If you have the opportunity to offer those kinds of things that make it a unique experience, it could work. I'm really surprised we haven't spoken more about technology, and I'm afraid that we haven't discussed more technological businesses this morning. I'm concerned. I am. I'm concerned we have not discussed more technological related businesses this morning, especially with the conversations we traditionally have on this show. I'm hopeful that we're moving toward a space where we can. Now, I want to go back to restaurants because Kenton Trott mentioned a restaurant on the water. In the water, it would create business opportunities for others as well, right? The getting to this restaurant on the water is an opportunity, right? Well, that's gas right there. I went to a restaurant in Atlanta last year where a robot served me. Like someone came, took your order, and then the robot, did I show that video on here? But the robot came and delivered my food and stuff, right? So there are ways to keep costs low in restaurants now, but that takes away the human element. So is it really something Bermudians would prefer or enjoy or like? I don't know. All right. So Dr. Anthony Richardson said the Turkish barber is different from the hair transplant. Okay. Woo. We've got Teray Tull says, I know you love that hot towel, Mr. Hyman. Well, I kept going back. Gotta love a good hot towel. Absolutely. Winston Godwin says tourist-related business, 10,000 customers on ships a day has to be something that can accommodate large numbers. Absolutely. Absolutely. And he says tourists always say there is nothing to do in Bermuda. I absolutely agree. And I want us to change our mindset towards tourism because, as the late Walton Brown once said in the House of Assembly, our families were able to build their homes and support their families off of seasonal work at one point. Now, I know the economy has changed greatly, but I admire those who have found a way to make the most out of the tourist season, but also the engagement with locals when tourists are not there. And Titan Express is one of those who have been wonderful at doing that. Dr. Anthony Richardson says tech businesses face too many regulatory barriers in Bermuda. Yeah. But as the Honorable Minister Diallo Rabane said, so many of those laws are from 1911, so old, they're archaic, push to get them changed. We literally spoke about this yesterday, and my suggestion to the minister, which he's on the same page, is you've got all these like flyers around the island, all these like promoters putting stuff up. The government changed the legislation and create opportunities for people to apply through an RFP, right? To have a billboard company, and so that everyone has an opportunity. Do it based on like Eastern and Central and West, like create opportunities for entrepreneurs to sell billboards in Bermuda in a neat way. Yeah, that's a business opportunity. I mean, you can, instead of using it like that, create the digital billboards where it's timed and things are coming down. I think that's an opportunity. We've got Rosalind Famous says creating individual partnerships to invest in real estate. I like that. James Burgess says, good morning to the Daily Hour team. I'm watching intensely from home. We appreciate you, James. Thank you so much for tuning in. Suzanne Ingham says, no robots, please. Human interaction is so much better. And I'm not a big people person, no robots. Well, I would disagree. I would agree with you, sorry. The challenge is when you own a business, robots more likely to help you keep that business open as far as cost. We're thinking like business people today. Shamari Sky says, sadly, a dialysis clinic. There you go. That's filling a gap. There's a need for that. Absolutely. All right, folks, let's pay some bills. Give thanks to Titan Express and Secure Trucking. While we're doing that, do us a big favor. Whatever platform you're on, be it Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter X, Instagram, do us a big favor and give us a like, love, follow, share the link with your friends, your family, your colleagues. And we're going to say thank you to Titan Express and Secure Trucking and bring my applause to him for the Daily Hour News Break. After that, we will have Jamillah Lodge from the Bermuda Economic Development Corporation, and we're going to be discussing some things you need to know on how to start a business in Bermuda.
The Daily Discussion is brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Visit TitanEXBDA.com, your leading tour and transport provider specializing in Black History tours throughout the island. And SecureBDA.com for all your property management, waste management, residential, and commercial trucking needs. Professional, punctual, and reliable service is our commitment to you.
All righty, folks, let's bring my applause to you in for Daily Hour News Break. And don't forget, we've got Jamillah Lodge coming up after that.
Good morning. Good morning.
Greetings, MP. How are you?
Feeling pretty good this morning. How are you?
I cannot complain. I'm here. I'm bubbly and didn't pull a muscle at the gym this morning.
All good things.
Absolutely.
All good things. All right. Jumping into the news break first, or you want to hear my idea of what I want to have in Bermuda?
I was waiting. I'm like, I was going to ask, but I thought you were just going to shoot right off. But I'm like, I know you've got something.
Well, the thing is, I can't think of anything that's profitable. But when you said what's something that you have seen outside of Bermuda that you want to see in Bermuda, and I went roller skating last night, and I go monthly with friends, and I think what's underutilized in Bermuda is our parks a lot and our beaches. Is like for us locals. So I was like, if we had a nice flat, easy, round circle surface in one of our parks or in all whatever, I feel like that'll get people out because I've seen some people like trying to rollerblade again sometimes on the stories, but there's not really a lot of places to go to. Sometimes they go to a netball court or like a basketball court that's outside that's
Mm.
not even really used, you know? I'm just like, oh, if we just had one little smooth surface, you
Mhm.
know, and then set up something where at this event I went to last night, they, you know, traded in your ID for a pair of rollerblades and you trade off like that. Obviously, for this one, you might be like, oh, $10 an hour or whatever. Like you can monetize it if you wanted to, but last night was free. And it just made me think, like, yeah, maybe that'll help people use these parks. Mhm.
But you know what? Because you said something key, Maya. Because one of the ideas I had, it wasn't profitable. You said it might not be profitable, right? And I think everything has an opportunity to be profitable if we don't just rely on the consumer. What I mean by that is one of the ideas I had. So you all know I don't know how to play pickleball. I never play it, but one of my hangout spots is the pickleball. This pickleball place in Atlanta. It's a bar, it's a restaurant, and you know I don't drink, but this is the only bar I know they have an appetizer. It's a fruit platter, unique. So I like the fruit platter. But saying that, I've taken a couple Bermudians there to show them like the spot, and they're like, "Man, this would kick in Bermuda. It's indoor. It's like so at the restaurant tables and on the restaurant side, under the tables under your side, it's got to go. On the other side, it's got to go. So you kick the ball back and forth. It's got like 2 mini golf fields. It's got darts. It's a great idea, but like Maya said, profitable. Now, what do I mean by don't rely on the consumer or customer? Bermuda has a big IB community. Get them to start sponsoring these spaces. Sponsor the skate park. Sponsor the pickleball place. Hey, this is Maya Jamal pickleball court, and have the sponsor underneath. You know what I'm saying? The I'm going to use something. The medical host Maya Jamal pickleball court. Like you know what I'm saying? Makes sense to you? Like probably.
I'm picking up what you're putting down. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
You get my point, folks.
But yeah, I was like, dang, I would really love to see us use our parks more in Bermuda, man. Every time I come home, it's like it's so beautiful and just so empty. Like 2-3 people maybe whenever I'm there. And I'm a big outdoorsy, you know, like to go on walks type person. So yeah, sad. All right.
Skating sounds hard though, Maya. Okay.
It's not as hard.
Maya, I tried ice skating once in the 90s before you were born. You were born 96, 97?
97.
Yeah, this was 94, and I haven't been back since. So a lifetime. I haven't done any sort of skating in a lifetime. I'll say that much.
I'm just saying, if it was there, you probably try it. I'll just say, if it was at home, I think it's a very good like date thing, it's fun thing with friends. Again, if you had it in like, let's say the park in town, one of them, then you know, lunch breaks, go for your little spin. Like there's a lot of things that we want to do, but just don't have available for us in Bermuda. And I think that's something that can get people moving. Like because there's no sidewalks, a lot of times you can't run in a lot of places, but look at these. You can skate.
I would just say they have to sell mouth guards for people like me.
Oh yeah, mouth guards, knee pads. I mean, pick that up yourself. But yeah. Do what you gotta do. All right. Good morning, everyone. This is your Daily Hour News Break brought to you by the good people at People's Pharmacy. So People's is more than just a pharmacy. As you know, they have so many different things. And one thing that they have expanded right now is the new selection of Ninja air fryers and the new kitchen MVP. And I'm a big air fryer advocate. It's probably the main thing I use in my kitchen. So check out People's Pharmacy and see about their air fryers that they got in stock. All right. In your news break this morning, we're starting out with 2 incidents that came from the Bermuda Police Service that they need us to know about. So a 67-year-old Devonshire man remains in the ICU after being struck by a car while riding his bicycle Tuesday morning in Smiths Parish. Now, the collision happened around 8:15 a.m. on North Shore Road near Jennings Road. Police say the cyclist and a 62-year-old female driver from Warwick were traveling in the opposite directions when the crash occurred. Now, both vehicles were damaged, but no one was injured in that report. No other injuries were reported. Then on Wednesday evening, police responded to reports of a gunfire in the St. Mary's Road area of Warwick just before 7 p.m. Now, according to initial reports there, a lone gunman dressed in dark clothing discharged a firearm outside a home before fleeing the scene on a motorcycle as well. So thankfully, no one was injured, but the area is being forensically processed and investigations are ongoing.
Yeah, on the first story, just want to send healing vibes and energy to the individual who was injured in the collision. And the second one is, I'm just a bit unclear. Obviously, a discharge of a firearm is just reckless and ridiculous. But to the person who, to that story, where it says a firearm was discharged, they didn't state whether it was like shot at the house. They just said it was discharged.
They just said, yeah, it was just discharged, so they say.
Got it.
Yeah, in Duckland, discharged a firearm outside a home before fleeing the scene on a motorcycle.
Outside the home, not at the home. Not like it makes a difference, but I was just trying to get clarity. Sorry.
Yes, of course, no problem. And again, if anyone has any information on either incident, you can always call 211 or the main police number 295-0011 as well, or speak to an officer whom you know. Now, this upcoming story, and I guess it kind of ties into our earlier discussion about business that will open, right? So this one is saying that social insurance outstanding payments expose gaps in Bermuda's economy. Now, in a recent Senate session, Senator Victoria Cunningham revealed that 1,738 employers in Bermuda are behind on their mandatory social insurance payments, putting the benefits of 7,475 employees at risk. Now, this represents 21% of the island's workforce. Roughly 1 in 5 workers could be missing out on crucial pension, sick leave, and other entitlements. The problem is particularly acute outside government and international businesses sectors. It's coming from, again, Senator Cunningham, that while most government and international businesses employees comply, many small local businesses, retailers, contractors, restaurants, and care providers struggle or neglect to meet those obligations. Now, this means nearly a third of Bermuda's local workforce may be unprotected. Senator Cunningham warned that many employees likely do not ever know their social insurance contributions aren't being made, putting their financial security in jeopardy, especially those nearing retirement or in need of leave benefits. Now, the Attorney General confirmed that recovering these outstanding payments depends heavily on government enforcement, which has been slow, they say, and the senator did call for urgent accountability and transparency, asking the following questions: which sectors are most affected, how much money is outstanding, what recovery actions are underway, and what protections exist for employees.
I think those are important community. I'd like to know. I think the public has a right to know who the companies are. I do. I mean, I didn't even consider looking at my social insurance, mind you. I mean, I'm part of the company responsible for paying it right now, but I've never thought to do it. But that should concern people.
And if you don't know your number, it's easily to find actually on the gov.bm. You just type in a couple little things and you have your number there, and then you can go ahead and check for yourself.
I have literally the easiest number, to the point where when I say easy, folks, it's as easy as 1, 2, 3, my social insurance. Like, and then, yeah. So yeah, I would say check it out. Don't be like me, know your number and not check it out.
It's the same thing we talk about, like when it comes to our pensions, like when's the last time you checked or opened up your pension? Like the things that you know are big hitters and matter. Let's take a look at them, right? Closing up a little bit more, jubilant news, some exciting news here that recently that came out. Some incarcerated men at Westgate earned academic honors in ministry. So in a place more often associated with punishment than progress, 3 incarcerated men at Westgate Correctional Facilities have shown what's possible when given opportunity. Kevon Scott, Christopher McIver, and Kevin Goder were celebrated during a small but powerful graduation ceremony after completing ministry training through the Bermuda-based Koinona Training Center. Now, Scott earned an associate degree in ministry and is now pursuing his bachelor's, while McIver and Goder received certificates of attendance and participation. Now, the program is led locally by evangelist Joanne Simmons, is delivered weekly at the Westgate and overseen by the Christian International Theological Seminary based in Florida.
Nice. Congratulations to the gents.
Indeed there. All right, so your weather for today, and I know it's been hot and humid out in Bermuda. I think everyone can't stop talking about how hot it is, but the sunshine will interrupt with a few little bit of showers and possibly a rumble as well, but it's not looking like something that's going to be long. And we got a high of 88 degrees again, so really close to hitting those 90s.
All right, thanks so much. James Burgess is asking, are these people not checking their paychecks? Well, your paycheck tells you what they're telling you they're taking out. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're giving it to the government for social insurance. So just from clarity there, James Burgess, regarding the social insurance. Maya, I think you deserve a joke today. Audience, does Maya deserve a joke? You deserve a joke today. It's been a while.
If you say yes, it means you don't like me. Okay, go ahead, Joel.
Oh, Wow. Okay. Since, Maya deserves a joke today. You know what? We'll do it after Days of the Year. Let's do it Days of the Year. So, actually, Days of the Year is nothing fun. It's Kitten Day and Blueberry Day and Pina Colada Day. Maybe I can ask this. Where in the world would you like to be right now enjoying a pina colada? Virgin for me. Where in the world would you like to be to enjoy a pina colada on Pina Colada Day, Maya?
The first thing that came to my mind, Jamal, not just where in the world, but at what time. I wish I was like 8 years old again, having a pina colada back out at Wiz's Cantina when it had before it got renovated to what it looks like now. Way back in the day with all the paintings and the pictures and the hats and the like that was my family spot. My sisters and I used to love that and just have pina coladas with a bunch of cherries like at dinner. So like I want to go back to that time because that's what I think about when I think about pina coladas.
Okay, so Maya says Riz's Cantina. We've got WKD Lama says Long Bay Cove. Okay. Rosalind Famous says right here in Puerto Rico where it was invented. Okay, all right. Where else, audience? Where would you want to be enjoying a pina colada today? It's Pina Colada Day. Well, Suzanne, I guess Suzanne Ingham doesn't like you, Maya.
I knew Suzanne was going to be the one,
All righty, here we go, Maya.
Here you go.
Maya, what runs all day but never gets tired?
Me.
True. That's very true. But what else?
What runs all day and never gets tired? Logical thing would probably be a fridge, but at some point it's gonna be breaking down. So what's the answer, Jamal?
What runs all day but never gets tired?
Your mouth.
Water. She kind of got it. Michelle does a river. Woo.
Okay, that's a logical. Okay, I do like one that makes sense. So okay, yeah.
Yeah, water. See, they all got it. Yeah. Refrigerator, my mouth. Yeah. Well, since it's Pina Colada Day, I wish you a very Pina Colada Day. Have yourself an icy Maya. Someone showed me that People's is actually selling these like frozen machines or something. Like
the Shock Ninjas.
Yes, that thing.
I did content for them a bit out here in Toronto.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's a thing. And you don't need ice to do it, apparently. So anyway,
they're really cool.
I want one of those. You got one?
The products up. I did get 2 things from them. The hair dryer diffuser thing and the ice cream machine, which
You make ice cream?
Cool. I gave it away. Oh. But like I sometimes I still had it, but it was just a bit too big for my kitchen.
I think I want that icy thing, the slush. I need to make because I could have made myself a virgin pina colada today. I could have made you one.
It is really cool. Like you don't need to put that many ingredients. It's like 2 ingredients at that, 2, 3 maybe, and it's just like it's amazing. You can make it like protein type ice creams, whatever. Like it just turns it into something so cool. So yeah, I did enjoy it while I had it.
Okay, well maybe for Christmas, my birthday comes first. Hint. I'll send my address in private. Maya, you have a wonderful day. We'll talk soon. All right, my applause here, folks. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with our guest for the day, Jamillah Lodge from the BDC. In the meantime, whether you're on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, X, or Instagram, give us a like, love, follow, share the link with your friends, your family, your colleagues. We'll be back after this short break for a very important community conversation. Stick with us.
Let's face it, life can be a little wild, but shopping doesn't have to be. I choose People's, so that whether it's a prescription that needs to be filled, a toy for my little terror, or a gift for a new addition to the family, we'll see about that. Everything's available in one convenient location. Some call it People's, I call it my one-stop shop in the city. People's, we're here for you.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning with enough coffee to keep you running throughout the entire day. Your pet at home deserves the best. Stock up on dog food to keep your puppy happy. Need a quick tasty lunch at home? Your chicken nuggets will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
Hi there, welcome to Medical House. We're located at number 6 Bakery Lane. I can't wait to show you all of the great stuff that we carry. Come on inside, let's see. Long days, long shifts, you no longer have to endure comfortable underwear. Designed by nurses, we now offer premium undergarments by Swoop that are unique, fun, comfortable, and functional. The only underwear you'll ever want to wear. Who says high-quality functional products can't be stylish and comfortable at the same time?
See it all at our new expanded location on Bakery Lane.
96 degrees, real hot, oh yes.
Summer's heating up, but your home, it can chill. BAC is turning down the heat with 20% off Carrier X-Power mini split AC units. They're sleek, whisper quiet, and smart thanks to energy-saving inverter technology. New install, upgrade, doesn't matter. Just don't miss out. For a limited time, get 20% off when you pay with cash, credit, or debit.
96 degrees, real hot.
Swing by BAC on Mill Creek Road today.
Bermuda holidays are a time when we celebrate our community, traditions, and the beauty of Bermuda. HSBC is deeply rooted in the community and proud once again to be the lead sponsor of Cup Match. Somerset! St. George's!
St. George's!
Whether you're heading east to watch Cup Match in person or spending time camping, boating, swimming, or simply relaxing, no matter which team you choose, Cup Match is one of the most spectacular and energizing events, bringing the entire island together in celebration of Emancipation Day and Mary Prince Day. Wishing all of Bermuda a happy Cup Match from HSBC, and may the best team win.
Somerset! St. George's!
HSBC, opening up a world of opportunity.
Discover Drop It, your go-to grocery delivery. Browse and select from a wide range of groceries, from fresh produce to daily essentials. Our friendly drivers deliver fresh groceries to your door fast, saving you time and hassle. With Drop It, you get fresh groceries delivered fast, so you can focus on what really matters. Drop It, freshness at your doorstep, delivered to your door with Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
Alrighty, welcome back to the big show. Jamal Hartman here. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindo's, People's Pharmacy, and thanks to HSBC Bermuda for ensuring that we can pump through the radio airwaves on Hot 107.5 for these most important community conversations. Don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Real quickly, before we bring our guests in for the day, we did speak about yesterday, folks. We did mention just having a bit of a challenge. Give me 2 seconds. Here we go. There we go. All right. Now we are straight. TSA footwear policy update. So Skyport, we did reach out to them. We did ask about how this will impact Bermuda. You probably saw it on other mediums yesterday, but in light of the recent announcement from the U.S. Transport Security Administration regarding the removal of the requirement to take off shoes during security screening, Skyport would like to clarify that this change currently applies to only to airports within the United States. At this time, the TSA has not extended the footwear allowance to any U.S. pre-clearance airports, including LF Wade Airport. All right, so that's the update on that. Now, without further ado, let's bring in our very special guest today, hopefully a St. George's fan. We didn't ask the minister yesterday, but I'm hopeful that he's on the right side. We know Jamillah will be on the right side. Let's give a warm TDH welcome to Jamillah Lodge from the BDC. Brings Jamillah.
I am on the right side.
I'm gonna tell you something. I actually remembered asking you on this show before, and I thought over time you would have come to realize that St. George's would be the right side, but you're still over there.
No, Jamal, you need to come over here. Come over here. What do we have to do to fix what is so very wrong?
I think what needs to happen is St. George's folks need to get together and ban Somerset people from coming across the bridge, whether they're going to the airport or anything. Find another way outside the country during the summer months. How's that?
No, it's about togetherness.
I gotta ask you though, it's Pina Colada Day. Where in the world would you love to be enjoying a pina colada right now, Jamillah?
On a beach in Bali or Fiji.
Okay. I've seen the pictures.
So that's where I would like to be enjoying a pina colada.
I've seen the pictures. I understand why. I completely get it, Jamillah. I do. So real quickly, you heard the conversation earlier. Question of the morning, we were just asking people, what kind of business do you think would make sense in Bermuda? Take away your role for a second from BEDC. When you just, as a person that lives and loves and living in Bermuda, just enjoys Bermuda, when you see businesses or opportunities, what do you think, like just from a Jamillah perspective, that you think, you know what, it would make sense to open this in Bermuda?
Well, I mean, I'll piggyback off what Charles Jeffers said. We definitely need some sort of payment solution in Bermuda because I think all of us, most Bermudians are well-traveled. They go overseas and the ease of which you can pay for items with your phone is unmatched. And so I definitely think that that is something that will be very extremely beneficial to business owners and to customers, right? So that I really do think needs to happen sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I love that idea as well. Like Zelle was the best thing. Like I already didn't carry cash, but now I go to vendor markets. Juneteenth, I went to this vendor market, Juneteenth, and I literally Zelled my way through it. Like it was crazy.
Exactly.
Yeah, like they were like, oh, you can Zelle this and all, and they send you this receipt thing. But folks, if you don't understand what Zelle is, or Cash App or any of that stuff, it's literally just instant way of payment. It could be email, it could be phone number, like just an instant way of making a payment. You don't even have to pull a credit card out. It's everything with your phone. So that would be a godsend with Bermuda.
It sure would. It sure would. I think the challenge is just you need the financial institution to support those type of payments unless you figure out a way around it. I know in some countries, like in Africa, they use the cell phone providers do it.
Okay.
Right? So someone has to be able to do it, but it's definitely needed.
Yeah, indeed. All right, so we've got one, but let's jump into the conversation. So we're talking about how to start a business this morning, and I think I've come across so many people that they have ideas, but they don't know where to start, what to do. So for anyone thinking about starting a business, like what would you say is the first step or steps they should consider taking before spending $1?
So plug come to BEDC. So I'm saying that because it's free. So a lot of times you have an idea in your head and you just need to have a conversation with someone to bounce that idea off of, to say, well, what are some of the things that I should be considering? So I really honestly and truly think that the first stop should be BEDC. Why not have a conversation with someone who is impartial for free? I mean, it's a free opportunity to sit down and discuss your idea with someone and get some real feedback, because we see a lot of different businesses coming through. So chances are we've had conversations, we have some idea about what's required to start whatever your business idea is. So that's what I would say in the first instance. But also, if you're unwilling to do that, then I would say if you're not going to talk to someone else about your idea, you want to take time to kind of write that idea down, and you have to ask yourself those hard questions. Like, what if this happens? What will I do? Is there enough of a demand for what I'm trying to do? If I'm entering into a market that already exists, am I going to be able to capture some of that market share? And is the market share I'm going to capture enough to make sure that I'm able to sustain this business and be profitable?
Yes. And important questions, and some of the things we discussed earlier. And this is no disrespect or shade to people who say a hair salon or a barber or restaurant, but I think so many people are passionate about things and believe that what they do will be different and it will generate. One of the challenges, and again, no shade, one of the challenges in Bermuda is were very excited when things first opened. I've seen, and I'm not going to call names, I've seen quite a few restaurants since we began this show start, and they're very popular. People out the gate. Some of them no longer exist, and some of them may be struggling today. So I think it's so important to, consider speaking to people like yourself and the BDC to ensure that, you have something sustainable that can work beyond the social media effect per se. But there's this perception, Jamillah, sorry. There's this perception that starting a business in Bermuda is tough. You saw someone earlier in the comments speak about, regulation and the like. But what are some common myths or misunderstandings that the BDC helps clear up for people who want to start businesses?
So I think one of the primary ones is what's required to actually start a business, right? So unlike in other jurisdictions, there is no requirement to register per se if you want to start a business as a sole proprietor. So just for understanding purposes, a sole proprietor will be an individual who wants to start the business. So they and the business are one and the same. There's another structure, which is called a limited liability company or LLC, where you go through a process of registering the business as a separate entity, if that makes sense. When you do that, you do have registration. You are listed on a register. You can search the register. There are requirements that you have to do to follow that. So a lot of people think that in order to start a business in Bermuda, they have to register as a limited liability company or LLC, or they're not going to be able to do business or open a bank account and all of that. And that's just not true. You can start a business as a sole proprietor. Now, in doing so, there are some legal obligations or government obligations that you have to register for. For example, if you're starting a business as a sole proprietor, you must ensure that you're registered with the Office of the Tax Commissioner. Right. And so some people are like, no, I don't need to do that because it's just me. I don't have any employees. Well, you're deemed the employee of the company. If you're the only person, then you are still deemed an employee. And so you must register to say to them what you intend to pay yourself for the job that you're doing for your own business. And so there's always some misconception around that because they're like, well, I don't have any employees, thinking that these are other people that they hire when they themselves are also considered an employee for the company. So that will probably be the biggest misconception. The other misconception is that, as you know, in Bermuda, a lot of times we do multiple things. So I'll have a full-time job and then I'll also start a little business on the side. One of the other compulsory benefits that has to be registered for is social insurance. However, if you are a sole proprietor and it's just you as an individual and you're starting this little small business on the side, but you have a full-time job that is paying into your social insurance, you as a sole proprietor don't have to pay into social insurance. And so a lot of people don't understand that. If you start hiring people and things like that, yes, you have to pay social insurance for your employees, but social insurance is linked to the individual person and it does not need to be paid twice. So sometimes there's a sense of relief because if you're starting up this business, the cost of starting a business can be, expensive. So that's one thing that you don't have to factor in if you already have a full-time job that's paying that social insurance for you.
And that you went right into my next question. So how does the BDC in particular support new entrepreneurs, especially those who may not have the startup capital or experience?
Yeah. So there are different options. So one of the options, of course, that we've always had since I started there 17 years ago. Ooh, I'm dating myself. You didn't have to say ooh. But one of the long-term products that we've had is a loan guarantee. And so all that means is that if you go to the bank or if you go to the credit union and you get a loan, they're going to ask you for some form of collateral. And sometimes you may not have it, which means that you can't get the loan, right? So BEDC will act as a guarantor on your loan. And a guarantor just means that we promise to pay in the event that you can't pay. Now, granted, it's a means for you to get access to the financing that you need to start your business, but our expectation is that you're going to pay. So in the event that something happens, because life, right? In the event that something happens and you can't pay, the banks or the credit union will reach out to BDC. We will settle that debt with them, but then we will reach out to you to try to recoup those funds and work on favorable repayment terms. But that's our primary product. That's what we were started on. We were created to support those business owners, particularly Black business owners who were unable to get debt financing from the bank. And so we then provided that kind of cushion to provide that guarantee support. Fast forward, I don't know, 10, 15, 20, 30 years, when the banks were not as willing to fund startup businesses, we recognized that there was a gap in the market and there needed to be some access to small amounts of funding. So we created a microloan. And so we have a microloan product that can give a small business or entrepreneur access to up to $30,000. And that comes directly from BDC. That's not involving any other financial institution. The interest rates are very low and it doesn't require any collateral. So we won't be asking for any type of collateral for that loan. And so that product is one of our most requested products, most utilized products, because I think of the interest rate and the fact that you don't need any collateral to receive that. And lastly, we also offer grants. So as you may know, the Wave of Opportunity Pitch competition is coming up. Applications are open now. And so in November, we have this Wave of Opportunity Pitch competition where we, through Global Atlantic Re Foundation and KKR, are able to award $25,000 to 5 entrepreneurs who pitch and apply to participate in that competition. So that's just another way outside of debt financing that we can get funds or money into the entrepreneurial ecosystem.
And what's the date to enter the Wave Pitch competition?
Getting in before the end of the month. So you have until July 30th to enter the Wave of Opportunity Pitch competition, and we'll be doing preliminaries in August. With the boot camp being held in October. So leading up to the boot camp, we'll arrange mentoring and that sort of thing. But the big day is November 17th this year. So please, if you want to get grant funding and not debt financing, $25,000 is nothing to is nothing to smirk at. It's definitely a good chunk of change. And we have seen how that injection of capital has contributed to the development and expansion of businesses here on the island.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. Audience, if you have any questions or comments, send them through. I mean, you had a lot to say about business earlier. I'd like to know, does anyone have a business idea that they haven't executed? Anyone like wanting to do entrepreneurship? Like, is there anyone out there who would consider entrepreneurship after this conversation? Like, would you consider entrepreneurship? Is there what's holding you back? Is there anything you have an idea about? Jamillah, let's talk about the legal stuff, because you did mention LLC versus just a sole proprietorship. Paperwork can be very overwhelming, especially, I mean, I was very vulnerable earlier saying, like, I forgot to do something yesterday and one of our websites was down, and then I'm dealing with, we have multiple businesses, so many different things, and it takes you away. And so you can forget that you have to, take this step, or every year you have to pay for your registration. And some people, like, again, don't even know that if it's multiple people, they have to do that. The social insurance. So what are some key steps and legal and registration steps that every business owner must take, and how can the BDC make it easier for them?
So in the first instance, I'll say that if you don't know, you have to ask, right? If you're confused, you're not unsure, then just ask. The service or the advice and guidance that we provide is free. So there's no harm in asking multiple times, or if you don't get it the first time, it's no harm in reaching back out to try and get a clear understanding of what's required. As a sole proprietor, there are 4 compulsory benefits that you must register for and pay, right? The first one I mentioned was the payroll tax, which is through the Office of Tax Commissioner, and that's on your payroll, not on all the income that you earn. So that is what you would pay yourself and or employees that you hire. The next is social insurance. Remember, if you have a full-time job that's paying social insurance for you already, you don't need to pay it again. But if you don't, and your venture is your primary source of income, you must register and pay social insurance. The next thing is pension. Now, pension, you get a bit of a time before you start paying. I think you have to earn a 40,000, I think, in profits before you have to set up a pension plan. And then health insurance. So the minimum requirement would be HIP, but everyone who owns a business or operates a business and has employees, including yourself, must get health insurance. So those are the 4 things for a sole proprietor that they have to do. You have to pay into it. As a limited liability company in LLC, you have to pay your annual registration fees. And that will be set out. It'll be based on how much you list as your share capital or your company is worth. And so all of that is set out in the Companies Act. And so a lot of times, if companies are registered as a limited liability company, they will also sign up to get services from a corporate administrator. And it's the corporate administrator's job to ensure that monthly fees are filed, that you're doing all the things that you need to be doing to be in compliance with the government. In the absence of getting a corporate administrator, then the Companies Act needs to be your best friend, and you need to, just have it there. But what I would say is that you could set in your calendar reminders for when these things need to happen, so that you don't run foul of not paying them or get into debt and things like that. I will say that sometimes all of those things at once when starting a business can be hard. It can be difficult. You're like, I haven't really even earned any money yet. What am I doing paying this? So I will say that there are kind of concessions that you can take advantage of. For example, BEDC has a new startup, new entrepreneur payroll tax relief. So it gives you some relief off of what you have to pay. If you start your business in an economic empowerment zone, then you get tax relief for that. So there are some things put in place to try to relieve the cost of starting up a business. But ultimately, at the end of the day, if you do the work and you do the plan and you factor in all of these expenses related to starting your business, in addition to all of your other operating costs, and it doesn't look like you're going to be making a profit, then it's probably not a good, sound business idea. And I will say that we do find that happens. People get excited. They want to do it. They love the thing, and they just go full steam ahead without doing the financial kind of due diligence to see if it's going to make sense, because the cost of doing business in Bermuda is not cheap. It's expensive. That's a fact. And so you have to make sure that you factor in those costs, factor in your salary, factor in your rent, factor in all of the other things before you say, okay, yeah, I can do this. I'm going to be able to break even with 10 customers, and then I'm in profit zone from 11 or more customers. If you can't say that in the beginning, then chances are you're going to have a rough start.
You gave me so much to think about because I've experienced so much what you're saying. It's one of those things where those who live it actually feel it, and I'm Yep, that's true. Yep, that's true. And it's not scary. She's not fear mongering, folks. She's just literally laying it out so that you kind of have an understanding, because so many people I know, I'm absolutely proud and happy that this summer we're celebrating 7 years of Bermuda Communications Group. And, I am proud of the team, the people who have come together to make this happen. It's not easy. It's, Craig Simmons said when he came on, I forget, and you'll probably help me with this, but the percentage of businesses that actually make it for us 3 years is very low.
It's low. It's low. And I would say those that do make it are willing to take the time at the start to go through that process, right? Sometimes you're like, I need to get on this. I need to start But what you need to do is make sure that it makes financial
Mhm.
sense. So yes, there's
Mhm.
passions, yes, there's things that you love, but at the end of the day, if you're unable to feed yourself, if
Mhm.
you're unable to hire the staff that you need to hire to make it make sense, then
Mhm.
what are you doing? What are we doing?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Kenton Trotz says, I say it every time, but Jamillah and her team are awesome. He
Yay!
says, I actually have another business idea. I will be contacting the BDC soon. We love it.
Yes.
Michelle White says, afraid that someone will steal your idea. Remember, no idea is unique. Therefore, if you see someone open your business idea, it's likely that they had the same idea. First to launch is your goal. I'll put it to you like this here. We don't own industry.
Right.
It's not ours. I remember at the Daily Hour Gala, like I said, our media partners were there. We don't own this space. Like this is a service to our community, right? It's a shared service, and we all have our unique ways of doing it. If you are afraid of sharing a business idea because you think someone's going to steal it, you will have your own unique way of doing stuff, and you can't go through life thinking like that. There are people who do the exact same thing as us every day, and we have a unique way of making sure that the community conversations remain engaged. And so,
And you know what those people don't have, Jamel? They don't have you, right? And that's what I tell people. I said, it's the you that's unique about your business idea. So yeah, somebody can go and open another nail salon. Somebody can go and open another barbershop or start selling clothes. But what are you bringing to the table that is going to differentiate what you're doing from what they're doing? And sometimes, and I'm being honest, it's not the thing that you're selling. People are buying because it's you, right?
Yeah.
They like you. They they feel something for you, and so they want to support you. And so that is unique. Nobody else can do you like you do it. And so keep that in mind when you're thinking about your idea and you're nervous about sharing it. The other thing I will say about that is it's impossible, and you could testify to this, Jamel, to scale a business without a team. You cannot do it.
Yeah.
It's not possible. And so once you understand that, you also understand you're going to have to tell somebody something.
Exactly.
At some point, you're going to have to bring in a team in order for you to maximize the opportunity to be successful. So
I will tell anyone, and again, I know you all see my face here more than anyone else, but there's over 10 people behind what we do. Like, trust me, it's not easy. The hardest part of what I do is kind of leading and managing the things and leading the people. But I'd be lying if I said that this was all me, all about me. Like, even the stuff we do on this show, none of it was really my idea. And I'm honest about that all the time. Like, it was people saying, hey, you guys should probably do this. We didn't have an intro and outro when we started. Rashida Burgess, you guys need to do this. We didn't run the show multiple times a day. You guys need to do, like, I am telling no lies. 90% of the stuff we do on this show was not my idea, but I'm grateful that I was able to trust people enough to believe that they knew what was in the best interest of what we were trying to achieve. And so you saying that team, you've got to be able to trust people. And it took me a minute. It didn't happen overnight with me, right? It took me a minute to do that. But Michelle White has a question, Jamillah. She says, what about growing business? Tell the audience about how BDC can help with that also. What will BDC help cover for growing business?
So in addition to the advice and guidance, we also offer incubator and accelerator programs. So that is basically creating opportunities for you to sit down and work on your business as opposed to in it. Right. And working on your business means taking you have to step back and look at the whole entirety of your business and ask yourself the hard questions. Are the things that I'm doing or continuing to do actually profitable? Or am I just spinning my wheels? And it gives you an opportunity to take away those things that aren't really adding value, aren't making you money, and focus on those things that are. And so typically when you're in the growth stage, this is something that Big Five, a KPMG, a PricewaterhouseCoopers, or one of these types of companies will sit down with you so that you can build out a growth action plan. We do offer courses and curriculum to allow you to do that yourself, which of course is a huge cost savings. In addition to that, we also try to coordinate and offer trade missions where you can accompany us to some other part of the world, whether it be the US or Canada, in the hopes that you can identify maybe partners that you can partner with to expand outside of Bermuda if that's something that you're interested in. So we ourselves, I like to consider that we are very entrepreneurial as well, because a lot of the things that we do are led by the feedback we get from you as the entrepreneur. So you tell us what you need, and we try and figure out a way to institute a program or to create a partnership that would allow us to give you what you need in order to help your business expand. Because ultimately, our goal is to create a healthy and vibrant entrepreneurial ecosystem. So that includes everybody. That includes the vendor, that includes the small business owner, that includes medium-sized business owners ready to scale. So all of those are our stakeholder who we are trying to cater to and ensure that they are successful.
You answered this earlier. You spoke to this, Jamillah, but I'll just let you go again because some people just tune in later. But Renee Simmons asking, is it mandatory to register with the BMA when starting an LLC or only for financial entities?
No. So it is only for financial entities because the BMA regulates those financial entities.
And you didn't answer that earlier. I actually thought she was talking about the registering the company registration. But thank you for that question.
You're welcome. Maybe she's asking because with the LLCs, which is a little different than an LTD, it's a little less paperwork required. It's a less legal things that need to be filed and all of that. So at one point, people or individuals were able to register for LLCs themselves. So they were able to do that work themselves, which of course will be a cost savings because now I don't have to pay a firm or a law firm $3,000 to register. But in order to do that, now you have to be a registered CSP, I think, with who's registered with the BMA to be able to file an LLC. So your LLC is not filed with the BMA, but the person who is helping you file the LLC must be registered with the BMA. If that
this is helpful. This is helpful. Honestly, this is a helpful conversation. Audience, if you found this helpful, whatever platform you're on, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Before you go, you've given a lot of advice today, but one more. What would you tell someone sitting home right now? They've tuned into this show and they got this great idea, but they're afraid to take the leap.
I would say that on the other side of fear could be success, right? The worst feeling in the world is having an idea or having a thought and not trying it and seeing someone else winning with an idea that you had. That's the worst feeling because you're like, oh my God, that could have been me. So I do think that you have to push through that fear. I don't think anything that's scary or anything like that, fear should not limit you from trying to achieve what it is that you know is for you. So you just have to push through it. And I guarantee you that if you do, irrespective of whether you fail or succeed, knowing that you try, you now know, but you don't know. It could be a huge hit and then you would have missed out on the opportunity. So you just have to push through it. Sometimes the first step is just having that conversation. People can make appointments on our website. You don't even have to leave your house. You can go online right now, book an appointment. Most of these appointments are via Zoom. So you're in the comfort of your own home or wherever you are, and just have a conversation. Ask those questions that might be causing the fear. And then I also say, if you are willing to take the time to look at what's causing you to be afraid, it could be, I have this family I have to support. I don't know if this is going to make enough money for me. So I'm afraid to take the leap. When you sit down and give yourself the opportunity to go through and answer those questions, you're looking at the numbers now. You're saying, this is how many of this thing I have to sell to be able to pay my mortgage and pay my school fees and all of that. And if you get comfortable with that and you see a clear path of how to do that, then where's the fear? You don't have any fear anymore because you've already laid out how you're going to achieve this thing. And then I'm a fan of baby steps. Like nobody says you got to jump off the cliff right away.
Yep.
You can take baby steps. You can keep your full-time commitment and start small to ensure that there's demand for whatever product or service you're selling. And slowly build upon that. And once you get to a point where you're like, I can't do both. I cannot do this and this. That then will be the time for you to focus solely on what your passion is. So there's a way to get through and push through the fear, but you have to do it. You have to do it.
Jamillah, this is another awesome conversation. Thank you. So I'm gonna put you on the spot because I remember when we first started, it took a while to convince her to come here regularly, folks. But I'm glad she does. I am. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for sharing information that's so helpful. I really do ask this audience to help like and share to beat the algorithms to make sure that people do have access to this information, because honestly, we have the assistance here. If you have an idea, if you have a business plan, just reach out to Jamillah and her team, and they can just go to the website bdc.bm or give you guys a call, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Jamillah, change your team. Have a wonderful day. See you soon.
Take care.
Jamillah Lodge, folks, from the BDC. If you appreciated the conversation, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. We're going to take our final break. Come back. We'll wrap it up. And we've got a daily play for you. It's a Name That Place. I want to see who is a global thinker. Stick with us.
Dreaming of expanding your business? With BDC's Loan Guarantee Program, we support your ambitions. Get up to 75% guarantee on bank or credit union loans up to $300,000. Just your vision and our support. Apply today and unlock new business opportunities. BDC, Bermuda Business starts here.
Considering the increasing challenges faced by financial institutions, the need for insurance protection is a critical component of the risk management framework. At Friesenbrook, our priority is to safeguard your assets with the most optimal, cost-effective risk management cover to help protect your business, whether it be cyber, directors and officer liability, professional indemnity, or property insurance. Call us on 296-3600 to learn more about our full suite of competitive corporate insurance products. At Friesenbrook, we provide insurance you can count on.
Get ready for the Emancipation Edition, an evening of powerful voices and vibrant culture. Presented by Sankofa Bermuda and Curb, this event brings short, impactful conversations on history, culture, and community. Join us Thursday, July 10th from 6 to 8:30 p.m. at BUEI. Tickets are just $35 and available now at ptix.bm. Come curious, leave inspired, and don't forget to bring cash for our amazing vendors. Let's educate, inspire, and challenge together.
Looking for the best care for your pets? Novazark Feed and Supply has everything you need, from top quality foods to toys and supplies. We've got it all. Join our frequent buyer program and earn rewards every time you shop. Plus, we've been awarded the Clever Customer Initiative program for helping you save more. And don't forget, we open an hour early on Saturdays so you can get a head start on your pet care. Visit us today or shop online for easy pickup or delivery. Your pets will thank you.
At Umami, we don't just sell spices, we spark something bigger. We believe food isn't just fuel, it's connection, it's tradition, it's joy. Our dream? To help you eat better, love louder, and maybe even start a little food revolution. One home-cooked, flavor-packed meal at a time. Because cooking isn't just a chore, it's an act of love. Umami Spice. Gather, cook, connect.
All right, welcome back to the big show. Thanks again to Jamillah Lodge and the BDC for trusting this platform to have these community conversations on a regular basis. Thanks again to the BAC Group of Companies, Medical Lenders, People's Pharmacy, and HSBC for ensuring that we're able to do this on a regular basis and for ensuring that we are able to pump through the radio airwaves on Hot 107.5. Thank you to every last one of you who continues to support us. And if you haven't already, just do us that big favor, whatever platform you're on, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, X, Instagram. Help us beat the algorithm so that as many people as you know, like-minded folks, have access to this community information as possible. All right, it's time for the Daily Play brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. All right, audience, are you ready? It's a name that place. All right, here we go. Get the music ready. Which continent has the smallest land mass? No one got it. Greenland isn't a continent. Dr. Anthony Richardson, you are correct. Australia, Oceania. Yeah, there we go. Gambia isn't a continent. Seychelles is an island in Africa. Australia, you are correct. Rosalind Famous, the smallest landmass, smallest landmass, not North America, no. Yeah, it is Australia. You are correct, audience. You are correct. All right, let's wrap it up. I got to let you all go, but thank you all so much for communicating and engaging and just locking in with us this morning for this conversation with Jamillah Lodge and BDC. Hopefully you found it helpful. You learned something. But before we even get to that, look, there are so many things that we need to fill in Bermuda. Every day, so many of us think like, man, what's wrong with this? What's wrong with that? If you see a problem, look at it as an opportunity to fill a gap. It doesn't always have to be genius. It doesn't always have to be like technological. It doesn't always have to be the most brilliant idea. All it takes is something that people need. All it takes is something that you believe can generate income. But it takes more than passion. So if you have an idea, reach out. You've got the BDC there. You've got Jamillah and her team that have the opportunities and options to assist you in any way they're able. I've got to give you all some daily inspiration and send you on your way, don't I? So I'll say this much to you. Let's find something. Let not the disappointment of any result weigh you down. Let it inspire you to ensure that you never feel like this again. All right, folks, please do not forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. I'm Jamel Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great day. We are out. Peace.